At Interpeace, we've been engaging with mental health and psychosocial support as a key part of the peacebuilding process because we recognize that so much effort is undertaken to deal with the hardware of rebuilding a society, but there is a lack of attention to the software of society, meaning the relationships that need to be rebuilt, and especially the hidden wounds of violence and war that will affect a country for generations. Even those who haven't lived through the violence themselves, but who come into a world affected by that violence, can have traumas and mental health challenges that will stunt society for the long run. Nowhere was this more evident to us as a key priority than in Rwanda, that lived through, survived the genocide against the Tutsis in 1994. And we saw that the reconciliation process that we were so vigorously engaged with was hitting a wall, was not going to progress unless we were able to help an entire portion of society, 1 million Rwandans according to the government, who are outside of day-to-day economy, day-to-day schools and relationships and family structures, that we were not going to be able to move forward unless we could bring them into the reconciliation effort. What we saw is that the nature of the violence itself, being intercommunal, intracommunal, meant that the traditional approaches to mental health and psychosocial support were important but insufficient. That they needed to be complemented with reconciliation methods to help those people not just heal themselves and be healed as individuals, but to find their place back in communities where often the perpetrators were still in the community themselves. How could they reintegrate their community to develop those social bonds and social support networks that everyone needs? And that by healing the individual and healing their place in the community through reconciliation, they then were able to actually start to build the economic development skills, the livelihood skills that could lift themselves out of their precarity. And that when we combined those three elements together, we got 1 + 1 + 1 = 6, not 3. That the combination of those were immensely influential and productive. And that we can replicate that type of work elsewhere. So we've learned so many lessons from the Rwandan experience, tested those in many other parts of the world, and I'm so proud by the work that our colleagues have done to create this guidance note on MHPSS for peacebuilding and livelihoods that is going to be able to share these approaches with many other constituents, many other agencies and countries, so that they can apply these same methods effectively where they are. This is an urgent priority. Think about the psychosocial impact of the war in Yemen or Syria or any of these contexts of extreme violence, Ukraine. It is urgent that we start to integrate the MHPSS contributions with peacebuilding and livelihood skills development in those contexts, and not just treat this as a humanitarian intervention or simply a health intervention. Because of the nature of the violence, you have to integrate these three elements. And we hope that this is a contribution to the world's approach in these areas.